Hello, sue.oneschuk here for the continuation of the lessons of A Course in Miracles. And on this video today, we are here for lesson number 74. And the lesson is, there is no will but God's. So it says, the idea for today can be regarded as the central thought toward which all exercises are directed. God's is the only will. When you have recognized this, you have recognized that your will is God's will. The belief that conflict is possible has gone. Peace has replaced the strange idea that you are torn by conflicting goals. As an expression of the will of God, you have no goal but His. And it goes on to say there is great peace in today's idea, and the exercises for today are directed towards finding it. The idea itself is wholly true. Therefore, it cannot give rise to illusions. Without illusions, conflict is impossible. And you might want to say, without the ego, conflict is impossible. Or with the ego, conflict is possible. So let us try to recognize this today and experience the peace this recognition brings. Begin the longer practice periods by repeating these ideas several times, slowly and with firm determination to understand what they mean and to hold them in mind. And it is, there is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. Then spend several minutes in adding some related thoughts, such as, I am at peace. Nothing can disturb me. My will is God's. My will and God's are one. God's will, God wills peace for His Son. During this introductory phase, be sure to deal quickly with any conflict thoughts that may cross your mind and tell yourself immediately, there is no will but God's. These conflict thoughts are meaningless. If there is one conflict area that seems particularly difficult to resolve in your life, single it out for special consideration. Think about it briefly, but very specifically. Identify the particular person or persons and the situation or situations involved, and then tell yourself, there is no will but God's. I share it with Him. My conflicts about Mary cannot be real. My conflicts about my job cannot be real. After you have cleared your mind in this way, close your eyes and try to experience the peace to which your reality entitles you. Sink into it and feel it closing around you. There may be some temptation, though, to mistake these attempts for withdrawal, but the difference is easily detected. If you are succeeding, you will feel a deep sense of joy and increased alertness, rather than feeling of drowsiness and enervation. Joy characterizes peace. By this experience, will you recognize that you have reached it? If you feel yourself slipping off into withdrawal, quickly repeat the idea for today and try again. Now, when there's conflict, we might want to hide, withdraw, put the covers over our head. It said, do this as often as necessary. That's the exercise. There is a definite gain in refusing to allow retreat into withdrawal, even if you do not experience the peace that you seek. We're practicing here. You may not experience the peace immediately, but just keep practicing. In the shorter practice periods, which should be undertaken at regular and predetermined intervals, today, say to yourself, there is no will but God's. I seek his peace today. Then try to find what you are seeking, a minute or two every half an hour, with closed eyes, if possible, and would be well spent on this today. So in reflecting here, in terms of this lesson, there is no will but God's. In God's will, there is no conflict, it says. And if we experience conflict, it's always between two illusions. And we're caught up in the ego's illusionary world then of fear and of loss, or fear of loss and scarcity and attack, and we're caught up in guilt. And an illusion is simply a thought of separation. Yeah, we believe that we're separated from God, and we get caught up in the illusions. Illusions are not true. Illusions are not real. And as we recognize this, we see that the conflict is not real. We make it mean everything. And again, there is only God's will. And in God's will, again, there is no conflict. There is only peace and love and joy and happiness in God's will. And whenever, we're tempted to believe in the conflict, that's when we remember, as the Course says, to say again, there is no will but God's will. But, again, as we're willing to see conflict as an illusion and let it go, again, merely because it's meaningless, then the peace of God returns to our awareness. We experience the peace in that surrender and letting it go. And we're filled, and we're filled with the peace of God. And the idea that our will and God's will are aligned is very, very important, because when we surrender to that which interests us, that which brings us joy and happiness, or prompts us towards health and love and happiness, then we align with God's will for us. Again, which God's will is happiness, joy, peace, and fulfillment. So, we do not feel conflict when we align with God. There it is, right away. When you're feeling conflict, there's where the red flag goes up. We're caught up in the illusion. We are not in God's will. We're caught up in the ego. So, we feel conflict when we try to choose between God's will and the ego's designs. And, the ego too is really tricky. It'll try to deceive us into believing that the ego's will is God's will. So to conclude, it's really important to ask ourselves this question: which one of these two roads leads me towards love, health, and happiness? And which one leads me further into separation and closer to fear? I'll read that question again. It's an important question to ask. Which one of these roads leads me towards love, health, and happiness? And which one leads me further into separation and closer to fear? God's will or the illusory world of the ego? All right. I hope that serves you, helps you, in practicing this lesson. And as always, I'm very grateful that you're here, and that you're following these videos on YouTube. And always, I appreciate your continued liking, commenting, sharing. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. And as I've said many times before, and I'll keep repeating, that, my attempt here is to build a community of those who are practicing A Course in Miracles. And as well, today, again, I want to thank you, because as we do this together, my intention is to support you in your healing, and I'm deeply grateful, because as I continue to practice, this supports me in my healing. So, all right, have a love-filled day, and one that's not of conflict, one that is of following God's will. All right, look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be addressing lesson number 75. Bye for now.